What the government does is going to influence the financial decisions that a business makes. Because the government controls things like the law and like taxation, obviously that is going to create a different way of thinking for businesses that would behave in a way that they normally wouldn't behave. Businesses wouldn't pay 30% tax if the government wasn't demanding that they pay 30% tax, right? So the government does influence what the business is going to do, what decisions they're going to make. The first one that we need to look at is the Australian Taxation Office. The syllabus itself is looking, it talks about company taxation especially, which is 30% of what your profits are. But the way that the ATO taxes businesses is going to have an effect on the decisions that they make. So some decisions for your business might be better for tax purposes. So you might decide to lease your assets instead of buying. You might decide to buy your assets instead of leasing, because of the tax consequences of that. So really good financial managers, really good accountants can always find, okay, this is the best way for you to do this. This is the best way for us to raise the money for tax purposes. And obviously you need to comply with whatever the tax department says. And there are still ways of getting around what they want you to do though. And good accountants will know those sorts of things. There's also ASIC, the Australian Securities and Investments Commission. They regulate and monitor companies to make sure they're complying with the Corporations Act. Now, this is really only for companies, so small businesses, not companies. But they do provide a range of punishments, from fines to fees to prison. So the financial managers of a business can actually go to prison, and they have. Right, there are people sitting in prison, not for murder or rape or anything, but for fudging the books, right? For writing the wrong numbers, and doing it on purpose. Obviously, it's not about mistakes, but doing it on purpose. Doing the wrong thing in terms of lying to investors about figures. There are serious consequences that ASIC can recommend, that the police take hold of and make sure that you are in trouble for it. So that is pretty serious, and that is going to scare the hell out of people, when it comes to reporting and things like that, because you don't want to go to jail. You don't want to get fined or have to pay fees or whatever for not complying with what the Corporations Act tells you that you need to comply with, because it also becomes bad publicity. ASIC will also, leak it to the newspapers that, oh, you've been fined for, lying to investors. And that's going to be public, and you're going to, lose investors. People are going to go, look, we don't want to invest in them anymore because they screwed over their last investors, so we don't want any part of it. So there's also that, indirect way of punishing you.